And as long as you solve the question, you get 4 points. Okay, unless specifically they request in the question to do it in a specific way.
When you say they, you mean you.
I mean us. The course is also given in Hebrew in 2 different groups.
Do you not give it in Hebrew?
I teach it in Hebrew, but this semester I'm just teaching you. Okay, last semester I taught the Hebrew classes. Depends how they.
If they don't speak English, are they lost?
What?
If they don't speak English, they gotta be lost, right? They don't mean Hebrew or English, right?
Because the code is intuitive.
It's much easier.
Okay, I got it all down.
You better find yourself very quickly.
Ellie, he doesn't want to see you get like that. Ellie, can we have a break for lunch? What? Just started. That's a minute, I mean, 1:30. Oh, yeah, I agree with that. At some point,
מתישהו.
So, any other questions about exercise 4 or anything that we did up to now?
Yeah, first practice is, you asked to do is numeric.
Okay.
I tried for like an hour.
Okay, that's the material we're going to learn today.
Oh, fine.
Numeric and all kinds of
I
different.
tried for over an hour. Is on the first example test, there's a question that says to do something that is numeric. And if it's not numeric, then don't count it. No. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to be so loud.
Yeah.
Yoda, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, so numeric is part of the new material we're going to cover today.
Okay, forward.
Good question. Any other questions about anything we did from the beginning?
Yeah, I had a question. On homework 3, I'll explain this one. So there were 2 variables in the last question. You have to do a do until and a for next. For the last question.
I don't remember the questions on the exercise. You need to.
Repeat the question.
You just told me the matter really quick.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, it's write a program that puts random whole numbers into a certain number rows in column A and searches for a number that the user provides.
Okay.
So when I put it in, even if it came up twice, like if the number came up a couple times, it only told me 1 time. I just did it with times one. So I don't know how to explain. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you search, and once you found it once, it stopped and gave you only that once.
Yeah.
Right, it would say it was found, it would say like the first time it was found, like it was found in row.
Okay. So what now? Read again the question. Are you requested to say how many times it was found, or where was it found?
How many times it was found?
Okay. So how did you do your loop? When did you tell the loop to stop?
I told it to...
You have your answer? How? Okay, let's go back to the question. Never mind your specifically. You don't have to find it now. I have a column, right? I put over here random numbers. How many random numbers I put?
Whatever the guy put in, whatever the input is.
Okay, so I get an input box, x equals input box,
Weird.
7 on the top, and I know how many times I need to go through the loop because that's the x, right? I know how many numbers I need to go through because that's the number x that I got from the user, right?
Okay.
So I do over here in my loop for I equals 1 to x. And then I go through all of the numbers and I know I'm going all
That's
through all
the
of them.
second question. The third question is to create a VBA that first asks the user how many numbers, like what the max number is, and how many rows he wants to use. And then from that, to find how many times, like using the random function, whatever it's called.
Okay,
And then to find.
one second.
I'll
What
show you what I
next?
did. I think it's hard to explain.
Okay. You want, no, so not now, if you wanna, if you focus me on what exactly is your question, I can answer you. Okay, so I understood your question was that you wrote a code that goes through this and only gives you where the first one is. It doesn't continue after to check if there are any more.
Right,
That's what I understood.
correct.
Okay, so you wanna know how to do it, that will go through all of them and give the number of times, how many times the number appears in the list, right?
Yeah,
So you know how to make the list with the random numbers, you just don't know how to count how many times the number the user gave appears in the list. Is that correct?
say that again?
You have already the code that puts in the random numbers.
Okay.
All you want to know, if I understood correctly, is how to search these numbers and see how many times the user number appears in this list.
Right,
Is that what you said?
yeah,
Okay, so I'm saying, you know how many numbers are over here, right?
yeah.
Because that's the X that you get from the user, how many numbers. So your loop would go from 1 to X, meaning search through all of these, right?
Yeah,
Okay, now Y equals input box. This is how many numbers, how many, and this would be an input box of which number to search for, okay? Right?
yeah,
Okay, so we know we want to go with the loop from 1 to X, and now in this loop we're going to look for Y, okay? Let's say this is in what column? Okay?
sure.
If says I1, meaning A1 equals Y, then my count equals my count plus 1.
Okay,
Okay? What does this do? This goes through all of the numbers, compares these numbers to your number from the user, and if it's the same, then you add 1 to the count that you're doing. When you finish this loop, which went through all of these, you'd have how many times that number, Y, appears in your list. Okay? 4. How do you close the 4?
And if and next.
Yeah, but, okay, and if we did 4 next, right? So you put over here next. And now you just need to output somehow. I don't know where you requested to put that output, message box or in this.
that's what
Okay, so put an output of my count. Would give you how many times that number appears. Got it?
Yeah.
Wait, what was X and what was the Y?
X was how many numbers you need to, random numbers, a list of how many random numbers you need to make. And Y is what number you're looking for in this list. He's asking a specific question. Which question was this? Exercise 3? What question?
Question 3.
Question 3. Okay, so you can look over there and see this group question.
So the if here, the for here is saying for I until you get to the random number, Caleb.
No,
Until you get the number that you're looking. No, is that an X or is that a Y?
X.
Ah, that's a Y.
Yes. This is X. This is a Y. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? This is your chance.
I have one specifically, but just do it during the break because it's just like long.
If I have any specific questions, can I email you prior to these?
Oh.
Not like the day of. Okay.
That's very meta. This is a question about a question.
It's very meta.
Okay. So, okay, so we're going to talk today about functions. I don't have slides for it, but we'll go through the material. There's two kinds of functions, or three kinds of functions, okay? There are functions that are in VBA. We use some of them, okay? There's functions like sum that you can use, okay? There are functions that are in the worksheet functions, and we also saw that, okay? Like rand between to make random numbers, whole random numbers between specific parameters. Is how do we use it in our code? Worksheet function dot. Okay, and then we can use most of the functions that appear, which we know how to use from Excel. Okay, anything.
How do we do that? Can you say that again?
You just write worksheet function in one word, dot, and then a list of functions will appear, and you can use any one of them, just like you use them in the worksheet. Now sum, for instance, I am not sure would be in this list. Although it appears in the worksheet functions, you have the function sum. So there are specific functions where they prefer that you use the VBA function, because there is a VBA function called sum. Okay? So if it's not on your list, that means that you have a parallel function in VBA, and for some reason they prefer that you use the VBA function instead of the worksheet function. Okay, but between these two, there are many functions. Okay? I wanna okay, so let's see the is numeric, for instance. Okay? I want you to create a user form. On the user form, put a label on the top, then put another label on the text box. Okay? Now,
A label and a text box?
yeah. In this label, write age.
You want to do this, or you just talk?
I'm giving you instructions. Okay? Write age. And now, I want a command button.
Below it? Below you tell me?
Yeah. Okay? And in the command box, then write check. Or how do you write check?
Can you start from the beginning when you sing?
Don't do it, just listen. This is a label. This is a label. This is a text box. This is a command box. Okay? This label says age. This label is empty. This command button says check. And the text box. Okay, everyone, create this and give each one of these a reasonable name.
Is that necessary also? Like in the homeworks, I just kept them as they were because it takes a long time to change the names.
Okay, so in the test, if it says give them names, you better give them names or else you lose points.
Wow.
Really?
When it says.
If it says.
What's the name supposed to be of our labels? What do you want me to
Give them reasonable names, okay? The first label, you do. Okay. This label, I'll tell you what the purpose of each label, each one of these is. What I want to happen when you press on the command button. First of all, over here, the date would appear.
In the label?
In the label, the current date will appear. Okay, you don't know how to do it yet. I'm just building up the form, but I want you to know what kind of names to give it. So over here, I want the date to appear. Over here, the user will write an age, and we'll check if that age is a number. Okay, and a message box, if it's not a number, a message box would appear saying, please enter a number in the age text box. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Now just build up this and give proper names or reasonable names to each one of these.
Wait, so the top one is the current date?
Will be.
And what is the text box we said? The text box?
Text box?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
What is the text box?
If you put in the label beside the text box, page, in the text box. you
Ah,
expect the
empty.
person to put in the
No,
text.
because in one of the homeworks we even had the labels themselves change, so. In one of the homeworks, we had the labels themselves changed with the rate. With the rates, the labels themselves changed. It didn't matter what was in the text box sometimes.
The label, there's a label that comes by itself. This I expect to change.
Yeah.
This label just refers to what I expect to have in this. I'm not going to change this one.
Salam.
Okay? Some labels we expect to change and some we don't.
Salam.
Okay, so everyone has the
Wait, the label up top, 12 o'clock position label?
here. Okay. So here we put a label. Then we put another label and a text box and a command button. Okay? Now, before we continue, we're going to give names. Okay? So we'll call this
Good.
Just wear it right on. Copyright, always install that.
How do I know which one of these?
okay. So now we have our user form with the controls that were required. Each control has a name.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I want to change this into the date when I press check. So, all I have to do is take this, the name of this, double click over here to get to the click of the action or click on the command button, and I say this equals date. Okay? Date is a function in VBA, meaning the current date. Now, if I run this, when I press check,
Oh, look at that.
this turns in today's date. Okay? Okay? Now what I want you to do is not change the date when you press check, but have the date, the current date appear on the user form every time I use it. Every time I make it active, every time I run it, the date should appear in the label.
Okay. I mean automatically.
Automatically.
Can you go back to your user form? Where
Well, you saying good?
Okay.
Work.
Should we do it?